Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm a social connections coach for the late diagnosed autistic adult. And you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be wired the way you are and talk to strangers. I'm going to talk about 3 common reasons why I felt that I could not talk to strangers, because after all, if you want to make genuine connections, you want to start out by talking to strangers. We don't know these people until we talk to them. And if you can't talk to them, well, you're not going to be known. So 3 common reasons why I felt that it happens and ways to get over them or ways to maneuver around them, however you want to say it. Are you ready? Let's go. You're afraid to talk to somebody new because it's stranger danger. They're going to hurt you. They're going to say something rude. They're going to dismiss you. They're not going to understand you. It's awful why put yourself through that. But you also seek genuine, authentic, real, close connection. And how else are you going to get it? The people around you, maybe the people you know already, you don't have that level of connection with them, and you seek something else. And this phenomenon right here, this fear of talking to strangers, this fear of connecting with other people, keeps us stuck. It's kept me stuck for many years. I was afraid to actually talk to new people because I was certain that they would do all the things I listed before. They would dismiss me, they would ignore me, they would make fun of me, or worse, they would not understand me. And, because I had no idea that I was autistic, and the way I communicated was strange or robotic to people, I was stuck. It's either stay where you are and be with the people you already know and already feel dismissed, ignored, misunderstood, or meet new people where you can potentially have the same thing happen. Well, the devil you know is better than the one you don't know. In my case, that's what I always wanted to do. So I don't blame you if you feel this way either, because it's safer. It really is. It's safer. You don't want to, there's so many phrases for this, jump out of the frying pan into the fire. You don't want to do that, right? You don't want to feel that new pain. So you stick to what you know. And like I said, I definitely don't blame you if you're feeling this way. You're used to being misunderstood. You're used to masking. And the new rejection is going to hurt a lot more. You already know it. You already feel it in your bones. You're already rejection sensitive. You already know it. So why even bother? Well, I'd like to be able to break this down. They talked about these 3 common reasons why I felt that I couldn't talk to other people, that I didn't want to talk to other people. And the first one is fear of vulnerability. Because I like to label these things. I love labels, so I like to label them. Fear of vulnerability. You've opened up before with the people that you already know. You've opened up to your family. You've opened up to classmates. You've opened up to coworkers. You've opened up to random strangers, perhaps, and it backfired. People just didn't get you. They didn't understand you. They made assumptions. They twisted your words. They dismissed your interests. Because I know if you're an autistic person with a special interest and you go ranting about your DVD collection, or you go talking about your train or stamp collection, you go talking about those things that are really, really important to you, and you go like a fire hose, blah, 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 blah. Or even not even a fire hose, but just like a little bit of information, obscure information about something that you love. And what happens? The person looks at you like blank stare. I don't get it. I don't know it. I don't know what are you saying to me? Ouch. I just shared something that was really exciting and interesting and important to me with you. I don't just do that to anybody. I just do that for everybody. And ouch. That's vulnerability. My definition of vulnerability is when you share your feelings. That's all the feelings that you have. I usually talk about 4 of them: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. When you share those feelings with someone, it's vulnerability. It's vulnerability. So you shared this really joyful, exciting thing with you and you got hurt. And it's happened to me so many times. I used to be a really big fan of Dance Dance Revolution. If you know what that is out there, drop something in the comments and let me know what your favorite song was, or is, if you still play. But I used to drive hours to play on a different machine, and I would take pictures of my scores, and I even helped lead a boycott to get the Dance Dance Revolution machine price changed. So I would sit in front of the Dance Dance Revolution machine, and I would tell people not to play. I would ask people not to play. Don't put your money in this machine because they raised the price unfairly. And a couple people were just like, I still want to play. Please don't, because this is really important to me. So, hey, I talked to a stranger for something, but it wasn't really to connect with them. It was to convince them to do something that was my own best interest. But I've been made fun of a whole lot for playing Dance Dance Revolution, and it was really hurtful. And people would laugh. I actually also, this was in college. All the stuff I'm talking about was in college. I was about 20 something, like early 20s. But I used to, I did a presentation, a class presentation on it. I had a speaking class, and I did a class presentation on Dance Dance Revolution, and I could not help but overhear the snickers of my classmates who were just so much cooler than me. But anyway, that's how you get to not like people. That's how you get to not like talking to strangers, because holy moly, they didn't get me. So the fear of vulnerability. The second thing that will keep you stuck, that will keep you not talking to other people, is the past hurt or rejection. It's like you remember these failures. You remember how you were laughed at for many years. That was 20 years ago. The Dance Dance Revolution thing was 20 years ago, and I still remember that. And I still kind of think about how opening up is going to get me into trouble. It's going to get me into trouble. And so I remember those things that had happened before. And these things, if you don't process them, they will follow you into the future. They'll follow you into the present, and they will create your future. So those moments of social failure will get you to build walls. And you'll feel safer if you just don't share. Like past hurt and rejection about anything. Even if you weren't, if it's not something that you were vulnerable about, but let's say you were embarrassed about something. You're embarrassed that you said something and people dismissed it or people laughed at it and it wasn't meant to be funny. And you remember that. That's going to follow you. And so living with that past hurt and rejection will inform your present, and it will create your future. So then you just build walls and you don't tell people, you don't try, you don't do anything because you don't want to face that again. I don't blame you, really. The third one is overwhelm and uncertainty. And it's especially big for being autistic because you're constantly processing. What did they say? What was the context? How did they say it? What was the tone? What do they mean? Is there some underlying meaning? Did I miss a cue? What do I say back? How do I say it back? How do I say it in a way that's inviting or interesting or whatever kind of reaction you're trying to get out of them? How do I just sound cool? What are the things that I need to say? I don't want to offend them. I don't want to shame them. I don't want to do anything like that. So what do I say? And your brain goes into overload because you're processing and you're uncertain about what to say. And so you can just imagine, I imagine me with my mouth just kind of open, agape, gauze, like, and I'm trying to say something, but nothing is coming out. And there's lots of smoke coming out of my ears because I'm processing and processing and processing. And even thinking about being in a situation where you're overwhelmed and uncertain will trigger that past hurt and rejection. Oh, how embarrassing it was for me to not know what to say in this situation. I'm never going to face this again. I know I've missed so many social cues because I can't really always read between the lines. But, we still want connection. You still want connection. And not everybody gets everything anyway. Even holistic people, not everybody gets it the first time. Sometimes you have to repeat. Sometimes things go over their heads too. And it's okay. But I've learned that connection really is possible. So here's really what helps me with those three things: the fear of being vulnerable, the past hurt and rejection, and the overwhelm and uncertainty. This all comes to being more confident about who you are and what you want in any situation. Because those things, the fear of vulnerability, rejection, being overwhelmed, it triggers us because we're looking for and searching for their approval and their acceptance. And I'll tell you, there are 8 billion people on this planet. Not everybody's going to get you. Not everybody's going to approve of you. Not everybody's going to want to approve of you or understand you or appreciate you. Not everybody's going to. And you have to know that in your heart of hearts. You have to know that and be confident and okay. Like, I like Dance Dance Revolution, and I'm 40 something now, so I probably won't hop on the machine if I see it, but I'm not ashamed to tell people that I got I think I got like 8 AAAs, if you know what that is. If you've done Dance Dance Revolution, you've got your own AAAs. I've taken pictures. I wish that I could find some of those pictures that I've had, but I've taken pictures in front of them. I used to even think about money in terms of Dance Dance Revolution sets. So like if it was $1 to play and like a soda cost $1, I wouldn't say a soda costs $1. I would say it costs one Dance Dance Revolution set. And my laundry to do wash and dry was 3 Dance Dance Revolution sets, and so on and so on. You get it. But I'm not ashamed. The point is, I'm not ashamed to tell you that. And if people were to laugh in my face about this thing that I really enjoyed and I loved, then I just simply know that they're not the right people for me. I simply know that. So the confidence of knowing who you are and liking yourself really is the foundation of making this change to be able to talk to strangers. So another thing that helps me is being curious. So I like to connect with people, but I want to give it some direction. I need to give it some direction for connection. So I talk about this in my coaching. When I go through this, we talk about conscious conversation. That is, we don't just talk for the heck of it. We don't talk because of the weather. We don't talk about the weather unless we're passionate and interested about the weather. We talk about something that's important and interesting to us, and we want to talk to other people about what's important and interesting to them too, so that we can see if we can get this connection with them, right? So you want to be intentional with asking questions to get the conversation started. So maybe ask them, what's something you could talk about for hours? What's something that you really enjoy? And see how they respond, because then they're going to open up. They're going to show you some of their vulnerability, and you can give a little bit back. You get a little bit back of your vulnerability. You can talk about something that you enjoy, and you can connect on that. And what's better is that if you really like what they're talking about, if you also enjoy it, that's instant connection, because you can also talk about the joy that you have for the thing. So we want to make sure here that you don't, right here, I'm going to caution you not to info dump, not to overwhelm them with information. Just a little bit of information. I'd like to give it a rule of thumb to talk just as much as they talked. So we're not dominating the conversation and we're not excluding them from connecting with us, right? Another thing that helps me is being intuitive. Yes, intuitive. Get in touch with your feelings. That's what I mean. I want people who are honest, and I like to feel the vibe of them. And I know that people who want to connect with me, they do. They just do. They have this feeling. I feel good when I'm with them, and I can tell that they also feel good. They also are talking, they're smiling, they contribute to the conversation, they ask questions, and I do the same. I reflect that right back to them. So this intuition, this feeling that I have of joy that comes within me when they're talking, that is what keeps me moving in the conversation. That's what makes me feel like this is okay to continue. They want a connection. And if you approach someone with that energy first, the right people are just going to give it right back to you. They're just going to give it right back to you. People want to be talked to. I want you to remember that there are people out there who are dying for connection, but they feel the same way you do. They feel the same way you do. They're afraid of being vulnerable. They're afraid of being hurt. They're afraid of this rejection. They're overwhelmed. They're not sure what to say. Hey, you're a stranger. They feel uncertain and unsafe. But you can be that person who starts this conversation. You can be the person who helps them connect authentically because they're looking for it, and so are you. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam, I want to thank you so much for all of your positive feedback for the Supportive Connections course. The outpouring is just ridiculous. If you haven't heard about this, I dropped it a couple of months ago on my website, patternsofpossibility.com. Just click resources to get instant access to the free Supportive Connections course. You're going to learn exactly what you need to create healthy, supportive relationships. Because a lot of us, if you grew up in a household which you didn't see healthy connections, you were trying to figure it out all by yourself, you might not know what it looks like to be in a healthy relationship. This is for you if you find it difficult to communicate your own needs, or you feel like you always have unmet expectations in your relationships. If you struggle to recognize toxic behaviors, or you keep tolerating disrespect, manipulation, or control, this is for you. And it's free. Go to patternsofpossibility.com, click on resources, and get instant access to this free Supportive Connections course today. Now let's do the listener letters. If you have a question about your family, friends, business, coworkers, anything that goes on with your relationships, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. Anyone else get desperately enamored with the idea of friends but dislike the reality of it? Maybe it's the dislike of change or anything outside of my daily routine, but I go through spurts of desperately craving friends, making some form of effort to make friends, and then change my mind. I get so lonely at times because I am deeply unsatisfied with my life and get jealous of people I see out with their friends and loved ones. I mean, not truly jealous, just a deep-seated heartache knowing I don't have that. I feel like I truly never experienced genuine human connection. I think I've used fiction as an escape for so long that reality has become disappointing. The only friends I've ever had have been due to proximity. Friends because we go to school together, friends because we're in the same extracurricular, and now friends because we work together. I have never been one to make friends. Other people have to approach me first. It's hard to distinguish if we're even friends or just acquaintances. Now, adulthood has made friendships much more difficult. I thoroughly enjoy my hobbies and alone time, but I do nothing but work or sit at home. I don't drive, so that adds another level of difficulty. I've tried Bumble BFF so many times, but I'm still unable to connect. I just end up not answering any messages because it's too much work. I do not trust easily, but I want to share. I crave that companionship and intimacy without having to build it. I don't think there's a human alive that is capable of being what I want. It's not an issue with anyone else, it's just me. But it's still hard to feel so lonely but not want to be around anyone. I have my family and my partner, and I love them, and I'm immensely grateful for them, but it's not the same as having a friend. I have no one else to talk to, and even if I did, I don't know what to say, so I don't know what to do. Wow. This is super deep, right? I appreciate this writing here because I think a lot of people relate to this, and I even relate to it when I was back in my 30s, something like that, late 30s, um, struggling to connect with people, really particularly not wanting to make the effort, even though I got invited to some events through work. So it was just proximity. I knew people at work and they were having a big old thing on some people on my team or some people that I routinely talk to just because we work together. And they would just like invite Lee along. Lee's from, this was back when I was living in California. Lee's from Ohio. Lee doesn't know anybody. Let's invite Lee along. And then Lee, me, I would find some reason not to go. Find some reason not to go. Because it was so hard to... I digress. I had all those feelings come up. But seriously, I know what it feels like to be in this situation and not want to go out or not sure how to. And this is what this episode is about. This is this vulnerability. It's really being afraid to connect with other people or feeling like it's just too much work. And I'm going to tell you that relationships, the kind that I'm talking about, the deep relationships where you have an authentic connection, they are work because you're going to have to give up some of your alone time. But really, some of that alone time is not fulfilling. It really isn't. You are doing your things, just single, I don't know, puzzles came right to mind. I like to do puzzles by myself. So you're doing whatever it is that you do, your single alone activity, and you're rejuvenating and you're connecting with yourself, but only to a certain point. Like some of that time, you're going to start to wish that you had somebody to talk to. Like this person is talking about fantasy books or reading fantasy, that it would be great. You read books solo, but they're book clubs for a reason, right? Everybody reads their book on a schedule or whenever, and then they talk about it together. That's the connection. But you don't have anybody to share your joy with. You don't have anyone else to share the sad things or troubleshoot some of your problems with. Maybe you have a problem with your partner and you don't have anyone to talk to because you hadn't made the effort to get someone to know you. And that's really the key to creating these meaningful relationships, is getting someone to know you. In order to get someone to know you, you have to get out there and start telling people who you are. It's not about what you can do to entertain them. That's secondary. That happens later after you get to know what entertains them. If you like doing the thing that entertains them, right? It shouldn't be forced. It's not a performance. It's natural and it's fun. But it's work first. And it's work because it feels like work because you've spent so much time by yourself not opening up. You're like not in motion. You're not in motion. You're not moving in that direction. You're like a giant rock and you need a little push. And it takes a lot of pushing to create this routine, to create these habits where you go to places where people do the things that you want, where you talk to strangers about the things that you like, where you face that rejection, and then you pick the people that you enjoy. That's right. You pick the people that you enjoy. Not everybody's going to be interested in you. You're not going to be interested in everybody else either. You pick the people that you want to connect with. So what I would say to you, and I would say to everybody, is to be intentional about getting out there and connecting with people. Be intentional about making friends, because this situation where they have a partner and they have family is still a good situation, right? But there are a lot of us out there who don't have that. You don't have a family, and maybe the relationship with your partner is chaotic and it's frustrating sometimes. You have no one to talk to and you feel alone in your family and you feel alone in your relationship with your partner. You have nobody else to talk to, right? So you want to be intentional about getting out there. If you don't have anybody and you get sick and you need help, Ubers to the hospital are illegal. supposedly. Like, I'm not supposed to use Ubers and Lyfts as ambulance services. But, if you don't have anything else, then that's what you have. You don't want to wait until you get in a position where you're absolutely desperate and you need somebody, anybody. You don't want to wait until you get into a position where you're absolutely so lonely. Maybe you're not sick, but you're absolutely lonely that you will take the first friend or the first person that comes along, and here they go taking advantage of you and your kindness. They take advantage of your desperation and they exploit you. You do not want to be in a position like that. You want to be in a position where you feel empowered to connect with people on your terms. Don't wait until you get desperate. You have to make a pledge to yourself. You have to get the courage, make a plan, get out there and start talking to strangers. And finally, I appreciate you being a listener. If you got something of value out of this podcast, please share it with other people and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening app. We'll see you next time. Take care.